You guys good? Minkies?
I think we're good. Can you hear me?
Terrific. Yes. Great.
All
Well,
right.
welcome everyone to Monday Night Ignite. I am thrilled to introduce to you Dr. Peter Minke because I'm a huge fan and I always love being around Peter and his lovely wife, Amy, who have been Young Living members for over 20 years. How amazing is that? And hi guys, Dr. Minke, he has served in unique capacities with Young Living. He was a research coordinator, a member of the Science Advisory Council, a national and international speaker and trainer for Young Living, as well as a blood lab supervisor at the clinic when it was still in Utah. And Peter received his bachelor's degree and PhD in molecular cell biology and has been interested for decades in helping others learn about assuming responsibility for their own health. That is what we're all about, right? And for learning the practice of self-healing and self-care. So we're super excited to hear from you tonight. Peter and Amy have a massage therapy practice where they both specialize in an advanced method called Aston patterning. And I was like, what is that? This works with body patterns that are developed over a lifetime of moving. So Peter himself is a cancer survivor and feels passionately about sharing what he has learned and experienced on his own wellness journey. So I love that he enjoys teaching of the proper use and application of therapeutic grade oils that we use and the use of nutritional supplements for optimal health. He is so good at bringing this down to all of our levels, not just the molecular biologists, PhDs in the room. So we appreciate that, Peter, and we are going to learn so much tonight. One thing I love when Peter speaks, you feel so empowered to go and use your oils that you're just like ready to go. So thank you, Peter. Appreciate you so much. The floor is yours.
All right. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. My passion is really to talk about wellness. And I think that there's so much to talk about, and I could literally talk for hours, that it's probably wise to use a PowerPoint just to keep the context into, otherwise I get unrestrained and I talk about, all night long. So we're going to do the PowerPoint thing, and I have Amy to make sure that it works. Because I'm not going to touch, I am not touching, no hands here. I am not touching the screen until she says it's good to go. And I shouldn't do touching it anyway from the beginning. Okay,
Thank you, Amy.
Okay, so are you seeing my little talking head while you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. And then how am I advancing? Okay, just the arrow button. Hey, this works. I might be able to do this. Okay, so we're going to talk about wellness, and more particularly, I thought it would be appropriate to kind of talk about a wellness mindset, because while wellness is, let me put it this way, what is wellness? And if we're talking about wellness as a noun, or a wellness as something a verb, in other words, to do wellness, or I'm well, it's not a verb, but the wellness, it's a state of being, or is it a process, or is it a lifestyle? And it's all of those, and it's also a mindset. So it really starts with, what are we thinking about in terms of, if I have an issue that I don't like, I've got a headache. I know I'm not supposed to link any diseases, but oh my gosh, something is off. I've got a headache, and I think, well, I could go ahead and take this or that or this, or I could do something natural and do that. That's still, none of that is actually in a wellness mindset. All we're doing there is chasing symptoms. And so what I want to do is help you understand how to take a step back and think more holistically, think more from a wellness perspective, so that these tendency to chase down a symptom and find a fix for it is really put in a bigger context of, okay, wait a minute, why is that happening? Where's that coming from? What can I do? What am I missing in my wellness plan that would lead to me having a headache? I'm just giving that example because it's a very common thing most of us have experienced at some point or another, and it's an easy one to say, oh, we're going to chase that down with a pill or a potion. It doesn't matter which one, because in either way, the thinking ends up being the same. I'll just give you the hint that most headaches are caused by dehydration. You're not just plain not drinking enough water. And so anyway, this is the idea, though, that we're talking about a mindset. How do we think about wellness? And then I'm going to put that in context of Young Living essential oils in particular. I mean, Young Living Essential Oils is the name of our company. We have lots of other products besides essential oils. They're essential oil-based products. But we are going to talk about the oils as the oils. And then, of course, there are other products that come with Young Living Essential Oils as a company that has personal care products, has supplements, has all kinds of products that can help us with our wellness lifestyle. But the wellness lifestyle falls apart if you don't have the wellness mindset. So I'm helping you understand that this is really the front line. This is the key thing that keeps you on track, is understanding where you're at mentally with this idea of wellness. As with any kind of disclaimer, I have to say I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not diagnosing and prescribing. We're just some folks here sharing information, one to another friend, one friend to another friend. And we're not, this information is not be used as a substitute for medical counseling, yada, yada. Okay, you understand that. And the reason we do that is because we're not talking about medical applications here. We're talking about wellness, and those are very different mindsets, okay? The medical mindset is we've got a disease, a condition, we're going to prescribe and treat. We don't do that in wellness, okay? That it almost doesn't even function that way. Those are incompatible approaches. And so this disclaimer just helps us be clear about that, okay? So we're not chasing down a symptom, but we are talking about wellness. What are some basic fundamental practices? And so this is just a little bit, I'd like to know who I'm listening to when I'm listening to a speaker. And this is my family, and I've got 5 kids, 4 boys and a girl. And in the picture up here in the lavender fields at the Young Living Farm, the girl is the one with Amy. She didn't have any hair for quite some time. It was so cute. But if you look carefully, you see the T-shirt that we made our teenagers wear. That was the Stinky Minkies. And if you ever felt weird using oils, try doing it 25 years ago. The oils were definitely weird. And so we thought we'd just own it and make the T-shirt Stinky Minkies, because that's what we were teased at school anyway when I was growing up. And so we forced our teenagers to wear that, and they wore it for exactly 30 minutes. And then they put their shirt back, some kind of overshirt back on, and hiding the fact that they were running around with that. But anyway, this is our family. Amy and I have been homeschooling from the beginning, all the way through to college, and doing our own natural wellness stuff. And we have a lot of sensitivities. So those who think that wellness is only for people who are totally healthy and they start out with great genetics and great, we've got a story to share, because we've got so many sensitivities and problems with our kids that we've gone through the ringer. And part of what has drawn us to wellness is the fact that we have such sensitive kids, talking about everything from gluten intolerance to chemical sensitivity issues. Can't put, like our second son, as a baby, as an infant, we were traveling. In fact, it was going to a Young Living convention, and it was in Utah. In Salt Lake City. We put him down as a baby. We put him down on the bedspread in the hotel. Anywhere his skin, his open skin touched the bedspread, created a chemical burn. He had a reaction and a rash for 2 weeks after that. So it was, talk about sensitive. Ultra, ultra, ultra sensitive. And so we have had to be ultra pure on all of our supplements, all of our personal care products, any cleaning solutions. Our house had to be completely, talk about green, not just green, but really completely non-toxic. And so we've been doing that for 20 plus years. And Young Living has been able to help us with that. And I'll mention a few things along the way on that. So these are just part of the stories of who we are, and just to share with you that we've been doing this kind of intense level of wellness for a long time with our kids, with our family, even our teenagers, getting our teenagers to take supplements, et cetera, et cetera. So I know what you're dealing with, at home with special needs. I know what you're dealing with on that. We've gone through that. So maybe something I share with tonight will help you in those kind of, well, that's all fine, but you don't understand, I've got a child with special needs. Well, we do too. And all these matter, all this concept of wellness applied works extremely well for people who are sensitive, and especially so. Because it's very difficult to get help in the medical system for something that is a chronic, low-grade, a reaction type scenario, and that, you just can't do conventional treatment for that, rash, because it's just going to make it worse. And all it does is add more toxins to the body, add more intent and more reactions to the body. And then we're into a worse and worse scenario that escalates. And I actually was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease that's in that same category that escalates. It was triggered by a pharmaceutical that I was taking for migraine headaches. And eventually I got to the point where they said, this is life-threatening. You can't take any more of this drug or it might kill you. So what I'm saying is, we've been doing this for a long time. We have lots and lots of little stories. I will try not to share all of them. And so Amy's nodding at me going, yeah, move on. So do you have a wellness mindset? Is this something that, are you thinking from a wellness perspective, or do you already have a bias that wellness is good for certain things, but no, you don't understand. I have serious problems. I have big medical issues. Wellness isn't going to help me. Okay. You have to understand, wellness mindset is not a replacement of medical treatment. A wellness mindset and a wellness lifestyle will help all of those things that are going on in your body be less intense so that other things work better. Now, it doesn't matter whether those other tools you're using are natural or are they pharmaceutical based, they're still going to work better in a cleaner body that's not reacting so badly. Okay. So we can talk more and more about the overall body reactions, but this wellness mindset is a critical component to make lifestyle choices that are tough. Would you agree they're tough? Lifestyle choices are tough, right? We don't want to do it, but we all know one of the big lifestyle choices I can tell you right now, and most of you will just, okay, fine. If he's going to talk about that, I'm going to just click off right now and leave. Do you all know that, you shouldn't have a lot of sugar? Yeah, everyone knows that. Everyone just go ahead and nod your head. Yeah. But do you still eat a whole bunch of sugar? Yeah. You shouldn't, right? It hurts your immune system for a week at a time. And it causes inflammation and it promotes yeast growth in your gut, and, it leads to leaky gut and all the rest of that stuff. And then now your immune system triggers into that, and then you have learning disorders, and that triggers the brain. Sugar triggers. You see what I'm saying? We all know that a lot of stuff that we need to do for wellness, but we don't do it. Why? Because we're not understanding the wellness mindset. So I'm going to hopefully help you understand. And having a wellness mindset actually gives you the motivation to make those good choices. And so it also prevents you from falling into this trap, right? This as seen on TV trap. You come along and you got this promise of a quick fix. There's this new product, and it's been scientifically formulated, and it has research, and and they just go on, and it's only $69.95. And if you buy now, you can get one bottle free. And we're seeking solutions to a scenario that we feel is out of balance. We know our body is doing something, and so it's urgent. We need to get a solution to this, and we're hoping for a quick fix. In wellness, it almost never is. And I'm not saying you can't find something that you can, wow, that really helps. But I don't know if you've noticed this, that when you find something that helps, and this is truly a wellness issue, that, we're not looking at the bigger picture. We're just looking at the set of urgent symptoms. We try something, it works. And so we tell all our friends, and then we find out that about 3 weeks later, it stops working. And the problem that we had, and if someone were to ask you 3 months later or 6 months later, hey, how's that thing happen? How's that product working? And because initially that first couple of weeks, it was, oh my gosh, this is amazing. It's changed my life. And then you find out that the person, you go talk to them honestly 6 months later, and they're like, yeah, I still have that issue. It might be a little bit less, but I still have that issue. And are you still taking that thing? No, I moved on to something else. And that's very common. It's a very common thing. We keep searching for that magic pill, that magic potion, that magic stuff. And just let me help gather you back to having a wellness mindset and thinking about it this from a wellness perspective, because it's not the latest fad, the quick fix that's going to help you. There is a better way, and it's following it. It is using your body talk, your body wisdom that is telling you, yeah, there's a problem, and using that to guide with some knowledge, some basic wellness knowledge. You can use what your body is telling you. You must. There is no one that knows your body better than you. You are the only one that knows what's going on in your body. And so if you don't know how to pay attention to your body, and we're going to talk about this, That's a key component to wellness, is you being able to pay attention accurately to your body. I mean, it's absolutely critical. And you do know what's going on, but there are things that we do that can disrupt our ability to listen to our body and hear what it's saying. And if you look at most of what allopathic medicine does, it's a anti-inflammatory, it's an anti-pain, it's all it's doing is shutting down the body's responses. Well, that might be fine to help get through the day, but it's just going to make another problem later on. We need to be listening to what our body is saying and also know what to do from a wellness perspective that can move us in the right direction. So let's talk about this. And I can relate and I can understand if you feel quite alone, you're looking for that, because the basic culture usually is moving us in the wrong direction. Okay. When you look at marketing in general, the purpose of marketing is to get you to buy a product. And the best way to get you to buy a product is to promote fear, sex, or cravings. Those are the three things that sell. Marketing, this is all scientifically done. They know this. And so fear, sex, and cravings are going to get people to be, so they're going to scare you that you cannot do this alone. You cannot do this by yourself. You have to have us. You have to have product X. You have to do that. And what I'm here to tell you is that's just fear. That's just, they're selling fear to make you feel like you're alone, because that's how it works. Okay. The culture is definitely in general moving in the wrong direction. Have this quick fix, have this quick sensation, eat this fast food that tastes so yummy. Don't worry about tomorrow. Just eat what's good right now, what tastes good for 5 minutes. But what I like about Young Living is that it actually has community associated with it. So here we are in a community that's spanning the globe. I don't know how many people are how far away, but we're spanning the globe and we're here sharing and talking about wellness. And I think it's just fantastic. And we have that ability because of technology, because of the internet, and because of the way Young Living is marketed as a community-based marketing type thing, MLM. And so I think it's just a really important component to have a good, strong culture that's going to help move in the right direction and to really have the right place in your mind and heart. And I think I find that in Young Living so much more than anywhere else. So we're going to talk about moving forward into the wellness zone. And the wellness zone has three components. Amy and I have been talking about the wellness zone for years. And so we said, well, what is the wellness zone and why does it matter? And the first premise of the wellness zone, being inside the wellness zone insulates you from this stuff, this negative talk on the outside. And so let me help you understand how that works. The first premise of the wellness zone is that your body is good. Okay. When God created man, he said, God created the world, he said it was good. And he created the animals, he said it was good. And when God created man, he said it was very good. Okay. So very good. We're not just in the good category, we're in the very good category. So the body is good. God created this amazing thing. And as a cell biologist, molecular cell biologist, that's the part that I don't understand how anyone doesn't believe in God, because you peer into the cell and you see some stuff going on in there. And you're like, how in the world could this possibly even happen on a thermodynamic level and a molecular level, much less this actual thing creates a cell and then does its thing. It's a marvel. It's a miracle. It's a wonder. And it is fun to participate in that wonder every once in a while, but we lose sight of that when we're sitting here and my body hurts, something's going on, and I'm being told constantly that, oh, it's there, my body has failed, I need something else to fix it. The body is good. Okay, that is a key component. And you wouldn't be here at all. You would not be functional. You wouldn't be able to process information that I'm telling you through sound if your body wasn't functioning at like a 98% capacity. It's that 2%. See, the body wants so much to be at tip-top shape. I mean, you didn't think you were going to go to church tonight, but I got a sermon for you. The body wants to be at tip-top shape because it wants to interact with God, okay? And that's the way we're designed. And so that the body, when it's off, even just a little bit, it starts to complain. Do you realize that the cell doesn't function outside of a very, very narrow physiological parameter? The pH of your blood has to be carefully regulated, the temperature of your body carefully regulated. So when you're out of balance, when you experience out of balance, that's like a 1% out of balance. I mean, 99% of your body on the cellular level is functioning great. Okay. So you have to understand your body is fundamentally good. When you give your body what it needs, it knows exactly what to do with it. You don't have to tell it. When you drink good quality, clean water, I had to qualify that because some people say, I drink water, I drink tap water. I was like, oh, do you know tap water kills your fish and your frog, kills your fish and your plants? Why are you drinking that stuff? Okay. When you drink good, clean, pure water, you don't have to tell your body what it needs to do with it. It already knows what to do with it. Okay. So it becomes a very simple confidence that when I do the right thing, my body knows what to do with it. And the third part of this wellness zone is that the current state of your health is greatly affected by your daily choices. That's both a good and a bad. And what you should have heard me say was it's mostly your fault. And that's true. Whatever state you're in right now, health-wise, is mostly your fault. It's mostly what you are doing on a daily basis. But the good news is it's mostly your fault, which means you can fix it. And so that's not, I mean, we all come in with a genetic background and we can't change that. But if you start with a poor genetic background like me, then you better be ultra diligent in order to make sure that you can go as long and as healthy as you want to. And so that's where the current state of health is all about your little choices that you make. And it matters. And so I've talked to people for years and years about all this. And first thing, usually someone will come and say, well, I don't feel like invariably we end up at diet, right? We talk about diet. Oh my gosh. If this guy's going to talk about diet, I'm shutting him off. I'm tired of hearing about diet. All I can say is there's so much variation in diet that you have to be able to pay attention to your own body to find out whether you are giving your body what it needs. Okay. Because if your body is reacting badly to something, I don't care what someone researched and said, this is a great product, or you should eat this superfood. If it's not good for you, then don't eat it. But you have to know that by paying attention to your body. So all this start in the wellness zone, this sets the stage for really paying attention to your body. So let me share with you how I got to a point, and hopefully you do not have to go through this kind of a journey to reach this awareness, but I'll tell you how I got to a point where I was very exquisitely aware of my body. So at 20, I was diagnosed with bone cancer, aggressive, malignant, metastatic, spreading, nasty cancer, aggressive cancer. And I went to treatment through 10 months of aggressive treatment at MD Anderson. And at the same time that actually about a month before I was diagnosed, I had started in an MLM company that sold a multivitamin. And as I went into treatment, the people, my sponsors in this company, had said, I need to take a double dose of these excellent multivitamins. So, okay, I'll do it. So I pounded multivitamin and extra A and E and C and all these extra. I was taking 20 plus pills a day. And at one point during the treatment, my mom had asked the doctor, is it okay if he takes vitamin pills? And I think the doctor was probably thinking, a one a day or something. And he said, oh, sure, no problem. The amount of antioxidants I was taking and pounding and the whole thing, if they had known, they would have said, don't do that. I don't know if anyone out there has had their doctor say, you're going through chemo, don't do anything, don't do any antioxidants, don't even eat any fruits and vegetables because that will undermine the effectiveness of the chemo. I can tell you right now that's garbage, but that's not our topic. So so I was pounding antioxidants, multivitamins, mega doses, okay? In the first round of cancer treatment of chemotherapy, I had tumor reduction. That was a miracle. They were hoping to slow it down, but they actually shrank it in the first dose. Why? Because it works better when you have the body as healthy as you can. Everything works better when you're supporting the body. Anyway, so I ended up getting, they killed the cancer. Yay, way, good. Got a lot of collateral damage in the process. At the end of 5 years out, I was then diagnosed with chemotherapy-induced lymphoma right after Amy and I got married. And so when I was sitting there with the doctor and saying, okay, what am I going to do about this lymphoma? It's getting worse. So they said, well, we're going to watch it. And I said, watch it do what? Watch it just get worse and then what? And he said, well, we can go ahead and do a biopsy and check. I said, I know what the problem is. I agree with you. I know I've got this problem with these swollen lymph nodes, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, okay, what do we do? And he said, well, chemotherapy. And I said, whoa, wait a minute, chemotherapy to solve chemotherapy-induced lymphoma. And then he said something that was very liberating. He said, we don't have anything else. Now, if he had said there is nothing else, you have to understand, I was totally like, they saved my life. I should be absolutely grateful for everything they did. And I was going to hang on to every word. And the doctor said, we have nothing else. If he had said there is nothing else, then I would have just done what he said, and I probably wouldn't be here today. But he said, we don't have anything else, which meant it opened up a window that maybe there was something else out there. So I started researching and learning everything I could possibly do. And one of the things that was a concern, and at the time, and even, I mean, Amy still married me, was that the very real possibility, very likely possibility that I couldn't have kids from the amount of chemo I had. Possible nerve damage, brain damage, liver damage, kidney damage, all those things were all on the table. And so excited to obviously, come back to this picture with 5 kids, and I kind of laugh about that. I wanted to prove them wrong 5 times. But this is really the wellness outcome. Okay, I would not be here. I don't know if you see my mouse thing. This picture of 5 kids would not exist if I had not done a wellness outcome, a wellness approach. So what did I do? And I don't know, is that my next slide? What did I do? What I did is immediately I called it my gift of lymphoma, because when I would eat something that my body didn't like, that triggered the immune system or beat down the immune system, immediately my lymph nodes would swell, and I would get feverish, and I would feel it. And so I could feel the cancer expand and grow. Okay. And that was sugar. So anytime I ate sugar, it was feeding the cancer, and I could tell, I could feel that. So do you think it was pretty motivating to get rid of sugar? Duh, and if you understood that you were feeding every cancer cell in your body, which, by the way, you always have cancer cells going on. If you knew that you would be feeding your cancer cells every time you eat sugar, you would be motivated to not do that. The problem is you are feeding cancer cells every time you eat sugar. You're keeping the immune system strong enough to mop those up. Okay, so there's my cancer thing. So you can see how this works, that I had to be aware of what I was doing. I had to make choices. Now, they were not choices other people had to make. They were choices I had to make. So you got to find out what the important choices are for you, which means you have to pay attention to your body. Don't get all the way to cancer before you start paying attention to your body, right? That's my lesson here. Don't go to a massive crisis. Some of you have already done that. But if you can not do the massive crisis before you can start paying attention to your body, that would be the best scenario, right? So you start paying attention. How can you pay attention? And I'm going to argue that one of the best tools available for you to get a brain-body connection are essential oils, okay? And so I'm going to mention a few things about essential oils now to help enhance your brain-body connection. And I am acting as an independent distributor, so I have to say that I'm a brand partner right now. We're the brand partners. We're not independent distributors. But as a brand partner, I'm just sharing information, about this, and it's all going to be in the wellness context, which is totally appropriate because that's what we're about. We're about how to use these tools in our wellness context. So the end of that story, like I said, was this cancer-causing environment, right, that had got me cancer in the first place. And then 5 years later, 5 years of being in college, eating fast food and all the rest of it, high stress, both situational and emotional. I was very intense in my studies. I was, pushing, myself academically. I was pushing myself, all these things going on. I had a very tense nervous system. The tension, I was wound up very tight. All of these things that were contributing to my cancer in the very first place, the poor nutrition, the toxic diet and personal care products, I hadn't changed anything. And interestingly, at the end of my cancer treatment, I started out in about September. I was done in July. August, I went back to school. I quit doing that multi-level marketing company, and I quit taking the multivitamins. And so I didn't know at the time. I really had no intelligence about that. I was just doing what my upline had told me to do. And then I quit the thing. And so I stopped buying those products, and I stopped. So I wasn't even taking a multivitamin anymore. I had no idea what to do, what I was doing. But I went right back to eating ramen noodles and hot dogs, toxic diet, personal care products, all those things, and ended up and exposure to carcinogens in the lab, and it ended up with that lymphoma. And so what I'm saying is, if you look at these things, do you have control over your stress level? Do you have control over your musculoskeletal tension, right? In other words, can you do things that can affect how tight and how wound up you are? Can you make choices about your nutrition? Can you make choices about your personal care products and what kind of diet you eat and what food selection you have? Do you have choices? How much choice do you have about exposure to carcinogens? Some of you might not. If you have if they're spraying something and we have no control over that, right? They fly over. We're in Texas. They do armyworm spraying for the ranch land and ticks. And so, there's an airplane goes over and dumps who knows how much, right? So there's certain things we cannot control. I'd love to be able to go someplace up in the mountains where they don't spray, but we're finding that all those chemicals can be found all over the planet. So in other words, there's really nowhere you can go where you don't get exposed to something. So we've got to take action that is going to make a difference. Otherwise, we can't expect a very different outcome. We're going to be a degradation process. So how do we do that? So we got to change our mindset. And like I said, there's nothing better than essential oils to make that brain-body connection. So how am I going to make that case? You can listen to me talk about it, or you can get an oil out right now. And I don't know, right now I've got Amy put down present time. Here's present time. Here's cedarwood. Okay. These are just oils that were right here. We just grabbed them. I'm going to grab a cedarwood, right? Here's cedarwood. I'm going to take a drop or two. For you brand new people who don't know how to use your oils, and you have a tendency to want to do this, where you kind of touch the top and you little dip and then you sniff at it. That's not how we use oils. That's not oil using. So here's how you use an oil, right? Here's your thing. And you let it drip out. Yes, a full drop, maybe even 2 drops. Here, there's 1, 2, 3 drops of oil. Okay, is that a lot? No, that's not a lot. If you're one of those people that has the cost per drop, you've got that spreadsheet on your computer, and you just go delete that, because once you buy it, you don't care. It doesn't do you any good. Open the bottle and use it, and you're going to use it by the drop. But the last thing you want is 50 cents, $1.50. You don't want that going in your brain. So take that cost per drop thing, throw it out, and just use your oil. You bought it, use it. And so here I've got this little puddle. Where's my camera? Okay, you can see this little puddle in my hand, hopefully. Anyway, I'm going to take that and I'm going to just spread it just gently, and then I'm going to cup it over my nose and inhale. And some say, well, I can't breathe through my nose. Well, then inhale it through your mouth. Obviously, you're going to inhale oil droplets, oil vapors, right? These are the actual molecules of essential oil are going into your body by inhalation. This is the method called inhalation. And we call this an oil intervention. What's happening right now, even if you're breathing in through your mouth, because it's still going up through the palate, essential oils are small, fat-soluble aromatic compounds that immediately go into fat tissue. The cells are made up of a surround with fat. The nucleus of the cell inside the cell is surrounded with fat. There's a bilipid layer, a lipid layer, that's a fat layer. And so those essential oil molecules are penetrating all the way in, through the cell, into the next cell, into the next cell, and we're inhaling those up into our brain, which is mostly fat. Okay, so literally these oil droplets, these oil compounds are going into the brain. Now, science has shown that when you do that, you get all kinds of interesting things happening inside the brain, and it almost doesn't matter what oil. You can actually see an increase in circulation. You can see an increase in what's called microcirculation. You have a change in viscosity, et cetera, et cetera. So there's all kinds of things that happen. It protects, these are all fat soluble antioxidant compounds. They protect the cell membrane. So the cell membrane is starting to get protected, and the body can now engage in maintaining, right? It's helping to maintain a healthy cell. Okay. You already have a healthy cell, otherwise it wouldn't be functioning. So it's helping to maintain that healthy cell. So 3 drops of oil, and it just did all that. Okay. Why are we not using our oils? Right? Do we forget about them? We forgot what we had. Someone else said, oh, well, you're using too many drops of oil. What, 3 little drops? I mean, come on, get your oil out and put it on. So this is an oil intervention. Why do I call it an oil intervention? Because it immediately starts accessing the brain at a chemical level. But it also operates at higher levels as well. And you got to wonder why frankincense in the Bible was brought to Jesus. You got to wonder why the Catholic Church still spends lots of money getting really authentic frankincense for their incense. Why do they do this? So frankincense, as many essential oils are high. I mean, you can go into the chemistry. We can talk about all that. I'm not going to bore you too much, but the sesquiterpene content, okay, which is 3 terpene molecules, anyway, so you don't want to go there, okay. But the sesquiterpene content that has been shown to help activate the brain. And now they're actually doing research studies with all kinds of pilot studies using sesquiterpenes, i.e. essential oils, to get to the brain to deliver chemicals, other pharmaceutical chemicals. And I'm like, if you could get to the brain with the oil, why not just use the oil? Anyway, so we know the oil gets into the brain. We know that. Now, how important is it then that this is pure? Do you understand this? That if these molecules that you're inhaling are going straight into your brain cells, not just into the cell, but through the cell membrane and into the nucleus of the cell, right to your DNA, how important is it that this is an absolutely pure substance, a pure plant compound with no chemicals, no extractives, nothing added to it? Obviously, that becomes even more important. And I can tell you, as sensitive as our family is and our kids, that is why we still use Young Living, because Young Living is over the top fanatical about purity. And to the point where they've even have to get their own farms, right, and grow their own. And so I'm going to talk about a 3-part wellness strategy, and I'm way behind. So a 3-part wellness strategy is to stop the poison. And so this is what I'm talking about. If we're using a tainted oil, and I hear people say this, is I'll just buy a cheap oil on Amazon. I can find the same oil. It says it's therapeutic. It says it's pure. I'm just going to buy that, and because I can buy it cheaper over there. And then they use that, and then they say, well, okay, I'll just use that in my diffuser. Why are you putting that in the air and inhaling it? It goes straight to your brain. Stop the poison. We got to stop poisoning ourselves. And that's the first key part of the wellness strategy, 3-part wellness strategy. Stop. And I was doing a lot of that. And I can tell you right now, you can make a profound difference in your overall wellness just by stopping the things that are hurting you. The second would be flood the body with nutrients. Okay, we've got to get the right kind and the right amount of nutrients into the body, or it won't survive. That's an essential part. I'll just say, when in the lab, when we were growing fungus for research, and if you did not put trace minerals in the petri dish, in the media, with the culture media, nothing would grow. Even the fungus could not grow. We have got to have basic stuff in there in order for us to function. We have to. And so that's essential in our wellness strategy. We've got to flood the body with nutrients, and we have to manage our stress. And because the bottom line is, you could be doing all these right things over here, stopping the poison, and you could be flooding the body with nutrients. But if you can't control what you're thinking about, and you're in just inputting stress, i.e. news, if you're doing that, there's just no chance for your body to even utilize the nutrients you got, because the stress will actually prevent you from absorbing the nutrients, and it will prevent you from detoxing the junk. Okay. So we've got to have a way physiologically to manage our stress. And so that's part of this wellness strategy, critical part. And I don't know, if you just use cedarwood, then you know that cedarwood is a nice calming. It has a very nice calming effect on the brain. And I can't think of a better tool than essential oils for helping you to relax. And I don't know if you noticed, some of you have been around a while in Young Living. And a while back, we were allowed to tell our personal story and maybe even mention a disease name and say, I had this illness and I used this oil and it helped. And that was our personal testimony. We were allowed to say that. And then, things got a little tighter. FDA got grumpy about people making claims about Ebola. I think that was the real turning point, when people started making claims that you could protect yourself from Ebola with an Ebola kit. Okay, and they crossed the line, and so the FDA came down on Young Living and other essential oil companies and said, no, you can't be making claims. And I completely agree. We shouldn't have been doing that. So now you have this kind of wussy language. You open up the catalog and you look at the essential oils, and it just kind of I mean, it says it'll give you a refreshing feeling. And you're like, really? I mean, I can quote you a research stack an inch thick on medical level research that will document, all the stuff that peppermint oil will do in a documented way. And all I can say is it's refreshing. And let me tell you, there's nothing better than being refreshed at the end of the day. If you had a tool that you could carry in your pocket that you could use, let's say every 30 minutes or an hour, and at the end of the day, you are more refreshed than when you started, would that be valuable to you? You see what I'm saying? You don't need to be talking about all the research and all the other stuff and all the specifics. If you know something is going to help, then refreshing is the only language you need. And because if you're more refreshed, and if your sleeping was refreshing, if when you went to sleep, during that time that you were asleep, you were actually refreshed and you woke up refreshed, would that be a good sleep? Would that be good? Do you think that your body would then be able to do the natural things it knows how to do, would be able to use the nutrients you gave it, right? That's the power of essential oils in the context of a wellness tool. So let's look at this and stop the poison. And now some of you are groaning, going, okay, I'm going to turn this guy off. And that's fine. This would be a good time. If you're uncomfortable with what choices you're already making, and I'm going to hit hard on some of these things, then yeah, you might tune me out for about 7 minutes. Okay, garbage in, garbage out. We know the issue, right? And so if we are using toxic personal care products, if we're using plugins, okay, to make a quote unquote masking smell, we're not actually making a nice smell. We're just masking the nasty smell that's in there. So now we have a nasty smell and then a override fragrance smell on top of it. That's what those plugins are. That stuff is toxic. Okay, it's no wonder that the CDC? There was one of those government agencies that actually outlawed the plugins in the bathroom and everything else, because they did a study and they showed that people couldn't concentrate when their brains were toxified with this fragrance crap. Can I use that word? So I won't use that word anymore. So this fragrance stuff is toxic, and it actually causes brain inflammation. So what would you rather have? Fragrance in the air that actually helps your cells, or fragrance that actually creates inflammation in your brain? Okay, there isn't any in between. I don't know how to apologize for it. There isn't any other way to do it. So if you're currently using plugins, scented candles, any of those things that are not pure, authentic essential oils, then you need to throw them out. Don't use them up. Don't use up if you've got a plug-in right now, step away from your computer, take your plug-in, double wrap it in plastic and throw it in the garbage. Maybe 1,000 years from now, the fungus can eat it later, but you don't want it. It is so bad for your brain. It also, specifically, the aromatics, the toxic aromatics, what they are doing is preventing you from paying attention to your body. They're actually blocking your brain-body connection. Okay, and that inflammation that's causing in the brain is now you're not able to hear the most important information you need, which is how are you doing? I just ate that. Does my body like it or not? Well, I don't know. I ate it so fast, and then I popped a painkiller after that, or I took an antacid after that. So I'm ignoring all of the things that my body is saying. So we've got to stop the poison. And what a shock! Our simple premium starter kit has an answer for keeping fresh air in our the little box that we live in. Right? We all live in this little metal or wooden box. We rarely go outside these days. So the only air we get is reconditioned. And so we definitely want a little bit of nature, right? And that's kind of the appeal of these fragrance devices. We want a little bit of a nature. Well, how about we bring nature, authentic nature in the form of essential oil, put it in the diffuser, and you can have a pine forest right there in your room by putting some pine oil in your diffuser. Okay, and why not do that authentically? It's just not that expensive, and it is so worth it because we're getting the double benefit. So yes, of course, it's better to be in nature, but and I know we can't be out there in nature all the time, and some of us living in big cities, it's hard to even get there, right? So you can have your nature in your room, and that comes right away on your first kit. Flood the body with nutrients. Okay, have you heard of vitality oils? Can you eat essential oils? I just talked about how essential oils, you breathe them in and they go, they're going through the body. Well, if you put them on the skin, they're going into the body, and if you eat them, they go in the body. So it all is the same to me. A lot of people will say, You can't eat essential oils, but you can put them on your skin. I'm like, what? I don't understand how that works. If you eat a substance, if you ingest it, it starts absorbing immediately in the mouth. Have you ever heard of buccal cavity absorption, right? Buccal cavity absorption. Have you heard of sublingual therapies, whether they're drugs or vitamins? They're sublingual. Why? They start absorbing immediately in the mouth. So your food, anything you put in, starts absorbing. Where does it absorb to? Into your bloodstream. Okay. So again, if you have if your food has chemicals in it, where are those chemicals going to start absorbing? Immediately into the mouth. Where? Into the bloodstream. If you have chemicals in your essential oil, are they going to go into the bloodstream? Yeah, you're going to bypass your liver and go straight to the bloodstream. So you got to make sure if you're eating something, and this includes a flavor agent, and in this case, the vitality oils are considered a flavoring agent. And so the lemon vitality, young living oil, vitality oils, they are edible. You can eat them. And that's typically thought of as a flavoring agent. So add a drop to your water. You're getting about 320 parts per million. Did the calculation, so there you go. And that's a normal kind of a level of flavoring that you would expect to put in water. Now, can you put it in a capsule and eat it? Sure, you can put it in a capsule and eat it. But what lemon oil can do, I mean, it has supportive actions on the immune system. This is basically bioflavonoids. Have you heard of bioflavonoids? I've actually seen, recently I was seeing an advertisement and they were talking about, this has got 50 milligrams of bioflavonoids in this capsule. And I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, they're really still selling that stuff? Do you know that one drop of lemon oil is almost 100% bioflavonoid and a drop is 50 milligrams? So you're getting 50 milligrams of bioflavonoid in a lemon oil that you're putting on your salad or in your salad dressing. I mean, if you understood that out there, they're marketing all this stuff, but you've already got it right here in a bottle of lemon oil, you'd be using more lemon oil. So lemon oil is good for the immune system, good for the lymphatic system, good for the nervous system. There's a lot of things that lemon oil can support as a supplement. And so, again, when we're talking about vitality oils, they're used as a supplement, they're taken internally. If I were talking about lemon oil as a cosmetic, I would have to talk to you about how to use it on your skin. Whatever, that's the FDA rules. So right now we're talking about a supplement. And so taking essential oil as a supplement, such as lemon or peppermint, okay? And peppermint is well been known to have, a refreshing, it resets the taste buds, but it also helps support digestive, soothing digestion. You remember going to a restaurant and at the end, they give you a little mint candy, those little swirly red things. And originally you might have thought that the reason they were doing that was because they wanted you to have fresh breath. That's not why they were giving you mint. The original use of mint was that it helps stimulate healthy digestion. The mint leaf, and that's the oil that's in the leaf that has the medicinal quality. And so it helps with good digestion. So can you improve your digestion with a little drop of peppermint in your water? Absolutely. So there's no excuse not to make good choices in your food category, flooding the body with nutrients. And we've got a lot of choices: Citrus Fresh, Thieves, Digize. We have lots of different things that we can use as supplements to help. I'm going to zip along here. So this is all part of the wellness strategy of flood the body with nutrients. These are all things the body knows how to use already. They're already designed in nature to be used, and the body already knows how to do these things. When something goes in and helps protect a cell from damage, okay? And I don't know if you people, I mean, I rattle this stuff off and I'm sorry, but let's talk about the mitochondria, right? Amy's like, oh my gosh, no, don't talk about mitochondria. The mitochondria are the energy producing organelles that are inside your muscle cells, inside your heart cell, inside every cell of your body has the energy production. It makes your ATP, okay? And it's bound by a membrane. That same fatty surround, okay? This thing is a little sausage-shaped thing, and it makes all your ATP. I get excited about this. What happens is the damage that happens inside that mitochondria, it produces oxidative stress. And if your cells aren't healthy, if the membrane of your cell isn't healthy, those oxidative compounds leak. You have leaky mitochondria. That creates inflammation. It creates damage in your muscle cell. It creates damage in your heart cell. It creates damage in every cell of your body that produces ATP, which is all of them, okay? So how important is it for you to have a healthy membrane in your cell? Okay, and your membrane is made of fat-soluble toxins. What is the worst fat-soluble toxin you could ingest? Well, I could think of probably worse, but the most common is partially hydrogenated vegetable oil, plasticized vegetable oil. It's not even food anymore, and it's in just about everything. If there was one item in your food, I know I already talked about sugar, but if this is more important than sugar, if there was one item in your food you could get rid of, and I'm talking about eliminate it. When I mean eliminate it, you have to go search the ingredient list, and if it says hydrogenated vegetable oil or partially hydrogenated vegetable oil, then you don't buy it. And if you have it right now in your pantry, you either throw it away or give it to the shelter. I don't know. How do you toxify the shelter people? That's cruel, right? I mean, you're going to give this toxic food to people that are homeless and you think you're doing, so just throw it away. Partially hydrogenated vegetable oil, what it does is it damages your cell membrane. And it does not just the outside cell membrane, it damages the cell membrane around the nuclear membrane and the mitochondrial membrane. So when the mitochondrial membrane starts to leak, what happens? One, you don't get good ATP production, which means you're fatigued. And two, you have inflammation at a cellular level. So how many people are tired and have inflammation? That's like the number one complaint, right? I mean, pain, fatigue, and inflammation, and that can all be tracked to diet choices. So flood your body with nutrients. When you're using essential oils, any essential oil, they're almost all fat-soluble antioxidants. They literally will go in and hug and protect your membranes all the way through the cell. There's no other tool out there like this. There isn't. I've looked. Managing stress. Maybe I need some right now to calm down, some peace and calming, some stress away, some lavender, some frankincense, one inhalation. Actually, you know that one of the best ways to calm down is taking a deep breath anyway. So let's all take a deep breath with or without your oil. The first tool of taking a deep breath is to exhale first. So blow out all that old air. Deep breathing, critical wellness practice. Add essential oils to that, and you've got an extra special component that helps your brain. But deep breathing will actually calm down and recharge your adrenal glands. How many people are adrenal fatigued? How many people can't get going in the morning? How many people's hormones are crashed? That's all associated with the adrenal glands. You can make a difference by breathing and doing your deep breathing. If you cannot breathe deeply, then go get some massage. This is back to where I'm talking about of tension. If you're so tight in your shoulders and you're so tight in your chest that you can't, and so get some massage work, stretch, do a stretch, your arms, your Jesus stretch, when he's on the cross, he's got his arms out. I mean, stretch the pecs out, right? And get all this opened up. I don't see anyone doing this. So anyway, so yes, stretching, opening up this, because what happens? We're all crunched like this. We're all on our phones, tippy tapping on our cell phones, and we're all crunched down in the middle, and we're putting tension around our thyroid. And we wonder why we have so many chronic thyroid problems. I mean, you're not getting any blood flow to your thyroid. Come on, we open some things up, rub some essential oils on there, see what happens. Okay, so managing our stress. So many ways to manage stress that I don't have time to cover them all, and I've only got 6 minutes left. There are lots of different things, like I said, I just mentioned about massage, that stress can come from being in discomfort. And does Young Living have tools for that? I mean, Valor, Panaway, Deep Relief, the CBD muscle rub. I mean, we've got a lot of tools that can help soothe achy joints or muscles or whatever it is. So use some of these. If your source of stress is that kind of muscle discomfort, then that could be your top choice, is to use a tool that can help you manage that to help your stress come down. You can always make a roller ball out of any one of the bottles of oil, right? You got that roller ball attachment, and you can use that as just a roller on there. Great adaptation to that. Okay, so wellness strategy, next steps. I'm going to zoom through this. We have the loyalty rewards program to make it easy. You've got to have a commitment. When you're talking about being in wellness, you've got to have a commitment to do this, because it's so easy to get off, right? I mean, you don't start an exercise program and say, okay, I'm only going to get a 1 month I'm only going to get a 1 month, thing at the gym, right? I mean, no, you don't do that. You say, I'm going to join a gym and I'm going to really commit. I'm going to get in there and do it. So you want to do the same thing in your wellness. You've got to have tools that work. I'm going to argue that Young Living has some of the best tools available. Everyone has a budget. You want to be looking at your budget, look at the plan. But if you can go do this on a monthly basis, you get all these freebies, and you have the opportunity to commit your a few dollars every month to your own program. So doing this. So what would you do next step, right? If once we talked about the wellness strategy, getting rid of the toxic food, getting rid of those toxins in your life, stop the poison. The stop the poison extends, beyond the sugar and the partially hydrogenated vegetable oil. You got our personal care products, and probably the number one is toothpaste. If you look at a normal toothpaste, it has a poison control label on it, which means the fluoride in there is so toxic that you should not ingest it. Well, my challenge to any dentist out there is, are you getting absorption of fluoride, this toxic fluoride that you're admitting, that the FDA admits that is so toxic that you have to put a poison control label on the outside of this toothpaste bottle? Is that getting into your bloodstream when you're massaging your gums with it? Probably. Haven't seen any studies done, and probably not likely to get any studies done, because who's going to fund that study? Certainly not the toothpaste industry. So you need to clean up your toothpaste. Very important. Your household cleaner, your soap, your shampoo, your hand sanitizer. Oh my gosh, how much is hand sanitizer being used nowadays with the whole, pandemic stuff? So you would definitely want to have a non-toxic hand sanitizer. So Young Living has answers for all those. We want to flood our body with nutrients and supplements. My top supplements are multigreen, Ningxia Red, and sulfurzyme. And you might know about my red drink, that's sulfurzyme, Ningxia Red, and lime oil, and that's the red drink. Okay. And so it's an easy thing to add to your life is drinking the red drink, which is, like I said, that's that mixture that I just said. The sulfurzyme powder, I use a spoonful of sulfurzyme powder, a couple ounces of Ningxia Red, and a couple 3 drops of lime oil, and then fill up the bottle with the rest of the clean water. And multigreens is just one of my favorite all-time green supplements. I just, there's no we have 100 or so more supplements and lots of supplements to play with. So you can get to know these supplements by following a program. I'll talk to you about that in a minute. I don't have any more minutes. But next steps, manage stress. You've got massage oils, you've got roll-ons, you've got the feelings kit, you've got all kinds of ways that you can address this using essential oils with programs that are already kind of lined out. Gary Young's was doing the feelings kit, was one of his early things. And he recognized way early in the game that we've got to get our stress and our mind aligned. Jesus did not give us a diet and exercise program. He gave us a mind control program. He told us to control our thinking. And so we need to get on track with what our brain is doing. And we need to capture and control our thoughts and direct them to positive. How many people have negative self-talk on the inside? Okay, right? Negative self-talk on the inside. That's not helping. But where did that come from? And how do we affect it? Okay, there are ways, and essential oils are powerful tools to go in and help with that internal self-talk. It can help interrupt that brain pattern that will do that creates those negative self-talk. Affirmations, very important way to do that as well. Okay, wellness renewal. What I did was I got tired of people asking me, what should I do? And so it's so too complicated of an issue. I'd say, well, how much time do you have? And I would spend hours, as you can imagine now, that I would sit and talk, and I would coach people on the phone for hours and hours. And at the end of a 3-hour session, I realized they didn't get any of that. They're so overwhelmed at this point that there's no way they even heard anything I said. So I decided to put it all into a year-long program. And I decided to make that free because I did not want people to have to I just wanted it available. Okay. And it also was important to me because Young Living at the time was going through that very serious struggle about a lot of people making claims. And what I wanted was a program that people could follow that was claim free, that there was no worries about how it was being taught. And so I put this together, and it's a video. It's about 200 videos. I would say there's about 20 videos per month, but toward the end of the year, I kind of didn't do as many videos, got tired. But The program is basically a month-to-month program, starts with the respiratory system. It has a quarterly diet elimination focus, right? So at the first focus is trans fats, second focus is artificial colors for the diet elimination, third is refined sugars, and fourth is refined grains. And you can see the priority I put on that. Trans fats, number one, got to get rid of those. And then the months are broken into body systems: respiratory system, blood and lymph, digestive system, elimination system, etc. And then we have an environmental component that we start focusing on that month as well. This is all free. It's all already organized, and you can follow this link right here and download an ebook that Amy put together that will walk you through by blog. She's got all those videos are organized by body system, by month in the blog, and you can get it all. If you get that digital ebook, all the links are there in that ebook. So just download that, and then you can do your own wellness program. Now, it is a little out of date. Okay, I put this program together in 2017, so 5 years ago now. So there are products that are in the program that are no longer available, and there are obviously lots of products that have never been put into the program. So it's a little out of date. But if you don't mind what you just heard for an hour, i.e. talking head me, then if you don't mind that, then you'll be able to tolerate the 15-minute videos. The videos are never more than 15 minutes. But so it's me yapping at you for 15 minutes. If you did not like, you've already tuned out and shut off. But if you don't like what you're seeing here, then you're not going to like this program, because it's just more of me yapping. But it's organized by body system, and I give you tools to a lot of stuff that you could use if you were just to. There's an example of what's that?
Month 5.
There's an example of month 5, which we're in, and it's focusing on the skin, the integumentary system. And so what I've done is I've given you the supplements that you should order in 100 PV and a 300 PV fashion, because Young Living, even back then, was giving you big bonuses by ordering 100 PV and then also ordering 300 PV. So I'm laying it out there for you and saying, okay, here's what you can use. And you don't have to do what I'm telling you. I'm just saying I've just put it together for you that can make it easier to plug into. And so that's the month 5 focus. Okay, you could jump right in and just do month 5 right now, or you could go back to the beginning and start at the beginning. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be January. So ignore the January. Just call it month 1. Okay. But this is available to you right now. Go get that ebook, download it, and get started. You can share it, do what you want with it. Just don't sell it. If you're gonna make money, give me some. And I think that's it. Hey, wait a minute. I'm not that far off. That it went black after, so I'm done. Yay! Hey, I'm not so over as it was. I don't know if we have time for questions or whatever. Danette, what do you want to do from here?
We don't, but how amazing was that, you guys? And we're all in there begging for part 2. So I'm just going to throw it out there right now with Amy and Peter. Can we do a part 2 here in the next?
When?
Well, I'll get you some dates if that works for you.
Well, I'm available. I'm open to it. We're in the middle of a move right now, so it's a little intense just right at this moment. But another month, who knows what's going to happen?
Perfect.
This is a month. You're talking about maybe next month, or is this weekly? I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, like month plus.
Amy's
down the
telling
road.
me to shut up and say yes. So.
Thank you, Amy.
Yes, I'll do it.
Thank you. We appreciate you guys so much. And on top of your move, we extra appreciate you guys' time putting all this together, as well as being with us tonight. Thank you both so very much. And thank you for the incredible resources that you have made for Team Young Living. And these calls are Team Young Living. And in fact, they are open to anybody who would like to learn about that. So we just appreciate you so much. So thank you both so much. And we're going to go we're going to stop the recording, and then we're going to go right into our next talk. So thank you, Minkies. Have a great night.
You're very welcome.